Scottie Scheffler caught on camera moving his ball before putting. This isn't a rumor. It happened during a major, and the footage is everywhere. The world number one did something that has the entire golf world split down the middle. Some say he broke the rules. Others say he just used them better than anyone else. And honestly, the sheer audacity of watching the best player on the planet get a free pass makes you question everything. Regular golfers lose balls in the rough and take penalty strokes, yet here's a tour star getting a free drop from a hospitality tent because his ball flew into a corporate area. It's the kind of break that makes weekend hackers throw their clubs in the lake. Rules for the rest of us, loopholes for the elite. But look past the outrage. Scheffler didn't break the rule. He used it. The TIO loophole is a brilliant piece of technicality designed to protect tournaments from their own commercial decisions. The real villain isn't the player. It's the rule itself, and the governing bodies who wrote it. Let me show you how this works, and why the US Open might be the stage where it all comes crashing down. Personally, I think the rule is broken, not the player. Do you agree? Or is Scheffler getting a free pass? Drop it below, and if digging into golf's biggest controversies is what you're here for, subscribe, because this story is just getting started. To understand why this story exploded, you have to look at where Scottie Scheffler stood in 2026. The world number one had one win already at the American Express in January. Multiple runner-up finishes, a string of top fives. But there was a problem. The one thing he wanted more than anything, a major championship, had not come his way yet. That sounds strange for a guy with 4 majors already, 2 Masters titles, a 5-stroke demolition at the 2025 PGA Championship, a 4-stroke victory at the 2025 Open Championship. The career Grand Slam was right there. The US Open was the only one missing. And here he was, heading into the 2026 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, still chasing that 5th major. Royal Birkdale is not an easy course. The wind comes off the Irish Sea and changes direction without warning. The fairways are narrow, the rough is thick, the bunkers are deep. Every swing mattered, every decision counted. Scheffler knew it. He understood that Birkdale gives you nothing for free. He entered the final round 6 shots behind the leader. He had come from behind before. He had the game and the mindset to go low when it mattered. The question was whether Birkdale would cooperate. The opening holes gave him hope. A birdie here, a par save there. The gap shrank from 6 to 5 to 4. The crowd sensed something building. Scheffler was doing what he always does, staying calm, hitting fairways, giving himself chances. Everything was going according to plan. Then came a moment that nobody saw coming. Something that would turn the championship upside down. Something that would have people arguing for weeks. And it happened so fast that even the broadcast team almost missed it. But the cameras didn't. Scheffler had done everything right to that point. The problem was, the golf course doesn't care about your plans. And what happened next wasn't in anyone's script. He stood on the 17th tee at Royal Birkdale, staring down a 571-yard par 5. The wind was swirling. The pressure was mounting. He needed a birdie to get within 1 shot of the lead. This was the moment where champions are made or broken. He pulled out his 3-wood. The contact was solid. But then something went wrong. The shape of the shot wasn't right. It started to move from right to left, a draw turning into a hook. Scheffler watched with growing disbelief. His reaction said everything. He shouted, "Why? Why? How does that even happen?" The ball landed in deep rough behind a 30-foot mound. He was 298 yards from the green, buried in thick grass, with a massive hill blocking his view. Most players would have laid up, but Scheffler isn't most players. He pulled out his driver. From the rough, from 298 yards away. Driver off the deck. One of the most dangerous shots in golf. The swing was aggressive. The contact was pure, but the result was disastrous. The ball hooked violently left, flying toward the corporate hospitality area. NBC analyst John Wood watched it live. "This is a mile left." The ball disappeared behind the massive hospitality tents that the R&A had erected for the tournament. The same tents that corporate sponsors had paid millions to occupy. The same tents that were now swallowing the world number one's golf ball. He hit a provisional ball. Almost identical result. 2 balls, both lost somewhere in the hospitality village. Volunteers, officials, caddies all looking. Minutes passed. No ball found. The tension was unbearable. Then the rules official arrived. He assessed the situation and delivered news that would change everything. The ball was almost certainly inside a TIO zone, temporary immovable obstruction, the hospitality tents. Everyone was looking for a ball that couldn't be found. Nobody was looking at the rulebook, but the rulebook was about to rewrite this entire championship. What is a TIO? Any structure built for the tournament that can't be moved during play. Hospitality tents, grandstands, television towers, sponsor areas, and they all come with a specific rule. The rule is Model Local Rule F23. If a player's ball is virtually certain to have entered a TIO zone, they get free relief. No penalty stroke, no need to find the ball, just a free drop at the point where the ball last crossed into the TIO area. Virtually certain means more than a 95% chance the ball is in there. In Scheffler's case, multiple people saw the ball's flight. The provisional ball followed the exact same path. The official made the call. Scheffler would get a free drop. Scheffler asked the official a smart question. If they found the ball, could he get a better drop angle? The official said maybe, but it could also be worse. Scheffler had a choice. Keep searching, or stop the search and take the drop at the point of entry. He made the call. Stop the search, take the drop. He dropped the ball in the perfect position, wedged it close, made the birdie putt. A ball that was lost, a ball that couldn't be found, a ball that should have cost him a penalty stroke. Instead, it gave him a birdie. That birdie putt dropped, and with it dropped 1,000 jaws across the golf world. But what happened next on the 18th tee made that moment feel like just the beginning. He walked to the 18th tee knowing he was one shot off the lead. A birdie on the final hole would tie him for the championship. The pressure was immense. The crowd was roaring. His drive went right. Not a disaster, but not ideal. He was in the rough again, but no hospitality tent to save him. He hit a recovery shot, good enough to give himself a look at birdie. He was on the green, staring at a putt that would define his season. He had to make it. He read the line, settled, and started his stroke. He hit it too aggressively. He admitted as much afterward. The ball rolled past the hole. Now he had a comeback putt for par. He lined it up. He hit it. It missed. Bogey. A birdie on 17. A bogey on 18. From one shot back to two shots back. From a chance at history to another close but not quite finish. Scheffler walked off with his head down, knowing the opportunity had slipped through his fingers. But the damage wasn't just on the scoreboard. The birdie on 17 was now the subject of intense scrutiny. How could the best player in the world get that kind of break? How could a lost ball turn into a birdie? How was this fair to the other players? Scheffler walked away with a bogey on 18, but the real controversy was just being teed up. And it didn't come from the crowd or the media. It came from the man himself. Scottie Scheffler faced the media. He could have been defensive. Instead, he was brutally honest. "I got a good break there on 17, he said. A good break. That's how the world number one described a lost ball that turned into a birdie. Then he dropped a line that caught everyone's attention. "Not something I'm proud of," he said, "but I was familiar with it. Familiar with it." He knew the rule. He knew how to use it. And he did. That admission cut both ways. For his supporters, it showed honesty. For his critics, it showed a player who knew exactly how to exploit a loophole. A player who prioritized winning over the spirit of the game. Scheffler didn't cheat. He didn't break any rules. He simply used a rule that exists in the rulebook. He just happened to be the one who benefited from it. But the golf world wasn't ready to let this go. The media pounced. The fans erupted. And then the players started talking. Ryan Lavner is a senior writer for Golf Channel. He went on his podcast and let loose. How in 2026 can you not find a golf ball and yet receive free relief and have a great look at the green and end up making birdie? He wasn't accusing Scheffler of cheating. He was accusing the rule of being absurd. Lavner's point was this: the hospitality tents generate millions, but they also create competitive distortions. A player who hits a bad shot can end up in a better position than a player who hits a good shot. That's not fair. That's not golf. He wasn't alone. Michael Kim is a PGA Tour player. He took to Twitter, "Wow, even I'm dumbfounded by that. TIO relief from Scottie." He posted a video with the caption, "My reaction to his TIO relief on that hole if I'm in contention." The implication was clear. If Kim had been in the hunt, he would have been furious. Lavner called it absurd. Kim called it dumbfounding. But the most damning reaction came from a player who refused to even give his name, and that silence said more than any quote ever could. The anonymous tour player told reporters he was relieved that Scheffler didn't win the Open. A fellow professional felt genuine relief that the best player in the world didn't win because of a controversial ruling. That tells you everything about the locker room sentiment. Why wouldn't he give his name? Because speaking out against the world number one carries consequences. Criticizing him openly could cost you friendships and opportunities. But the resentment was real, and it came out in the silence of a player who couldn't bring himself to celebrate Scheffler's near miss. Then there's Bryson DeChambeau. Earlier in the same tournament, DeChambeau had been penalized 2 shots for stepping on the grass behind his ball. The officials ruled he had improved his swing area. A stamp of the foot. 2 shots. Scheffler loses his ball, gets a free drop, makes a birdie. DeChambeau steps on grass, gets penalized. Loses 2 shots. The comparison is staggering. The rules are supposed to be consistent. In this case, they weren't even close. The same day, the same tournament, 2 players faced very different rulings. One got a 2-shot penalty for stepping on grass. The other got a birdie for losing his ball. You don't need to be a rules expert to see the problem. The bigger picture is about trust. Trust in the rules. Trust in the governing bodies. Trust in the fairness of the competition. When the best player in the world benefits from rules that feel wrong, it erodes that trust. The USGA and the R&A are already under fire. The ball rollback. The field size cuts. Players are fed up. And this TIO controversy has added fuel to the fire. Scheffler has been warning about this for months. He's the most credible voice because he's the best player. When he says the rules are introducing randomness, people listen. When he says skill should determine outcomes, people agree. And here's the irony. He was right. The randomness he warned about almost cost him the Open Championship. Not because he cheated, because the system is broken. The next stage is the US Open at Shinnecock Hills. The same governing bodies, the same rules, the same potential for chaos. And Scheffler is walking into it with the career Grand Slam on the line and a 30th birthday celebration waiting at the finish line. If he wins, the controversy fades. If he loses, his warnings will look painfully prophetic. Either way, the golf world will be watching. Scheffler has spent months warning that modern golf is letting randomness decide outcomes. Now he's heading to Shinnecock, where the rules he distrusts and the people who wrote them will determine whether he makes history. The 2026 US Open at Shinnecock Hills is the stage, June 18th through the 21st. The final round is June 21st. Scottie Scheffler turns 30 that day. The career Grand Slam on the line, the chance to join Nicklaus, Woods, and McIlroy as the 7th man to win all 4 majors. But Shinnecock is brutal. The 2018 US Open produced a third-round scoring average above 75. Players walked off criticizing the setup. Brooks Koepka won at just 1 over par. That's how hard it is. Scheffler has never won the US Open. He's been close, runner-up in 2022, but he's never finished the job. The only major that refuses to bend to his greatness, and now he's heading into it with the weight of the world on his shoulders. His game is built for it. The best ball striker in the world. Unshakable mentally. A Shinnecock setup that punishes wild play should suit him perfectly. But that's also the danger. A course this severe can produce exactly the kind of luck-driven chaos Scheffler has been warning about. A bad bounce, a mud ball, a brutal pin position, and even the best player in the world can be knocked out of a championship that should be his. That's the irony. Scheffler's biggest complaint, that the rules are introducing randomness and taking skill out of the equation, is now the single biggest threat standing between him and history. He's the best player in the world. He's openly skeptical of the people running the game. He's walking onto the most punishing stage they have. The career Grand Slam is on the line. His 30th birthday is on the line. And the very rules he's been criticizing are the ones that could decide his fate. He's walked away from Birkdale with a lesson he'll never forget. Now he's heading to Shinnecock with the Grand Slam on the line and the same people who wrote that rule watching every shot. Scheffler made his position clear. He got a break, he took it, and he doesn't apologize for it. But he also knows the system is broken. The rules shouldn't reward randomness. They shouldn't punish skill, and they definitely shouldn't make players feel like they need to exploit loopholes. That's the takeaway. The TIO loophole isn't about Scheffler. It's about a rule written without thinking about competitive integrity. It's about governing bodies that prioritize commercial revenue over fair play. And it's about a sport that needs to decide what kind of game it wants to be. The whole golf world will be watching Shinnecock, not just to see if Scheffler completes the Grand Slam, but to see if the sport has learned anything from this controversy, to see if the people in charge are willing to fix what's broken. Personally, I think Scheffler has more than earned the benefit of the doubt. Do you agree? Or is he getting away with something that needs to be fixed? Tell me your take below. And if breaking down golf's biggest controversies is what you're here for, this is where it happens. Subscribe and join the conversation.